Hello Year 4, welcome to Monday's maths lesson. We are starting a new unit just for this week, 5 lessons on time. Now, we're not so much going to be learning how to read a clock, what about converting times? And I want to take today slowly just while we start. Our objective today is telling the time with a 24-hour clock. Okay, and some of us might need a little bit of reminding about that, others might be feeling very confident. Our in focus comes in a couple of parts. It says Amira and her family flew from London to Singapore. Okay, that's quite a long distance. The flight was scheduled to land in Singapore at 15:55. And we can see in this picture it says time 19:10. We've got the flight number and it says from London to Heathrow. This is the departure time. It's the time that the flight, the plane, leaves London. Okay, so Mira and her family are flying from London to Singapore, and the flight leaves London at 19:10, and it is scheduled, it's planned to land in Singapore at 15:55. I'm just going to jot those underneath here. So London, and the plane leaves, the time is 19:10, and it's going to go all the way to Singapore, and it should land at 15:55. Now, if you were all confident with telling the time on a clock face and on a digital clock, then I would say this is a matter of maths. I think because of the bumpy year we had last year, some of you might have missed parts of your learning on telling the time, so as I said, we're going to go a little bit slowly. Sam says write these times using the 12-hour clock. Okay, so it hasn't asked us how long the flight has taken, it has just asked us to write them using the 12-hour clock. These times are written using the 24-hour clock. If you're confident with that, you can pause the video now and write those times down. Please make sure you do it clearly, and you mark it with London time and the time landing in Singapore. Okay, we're going to have a little look at a timeline. We start by knowing that there are 24 hours in a day. Okay, so our day is split up into hours, and there are 24 of them in one day. Often we use the 12-hour clock, okay, and that's just the way we talk about the time. There are always 24 hours in a day, but when we talk about the time, we could have a 6 o'clock in the morning, which is when I wake up, and a 6 o'clock in the evening, which is when I usually get home. I wonder what times in the day that you see twice. Do you see 7 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock in the evening? Okay, so we know that we have 12 o'clock midnight, and if we start counting the day from 12 o'clock midnight, let's think about our Monday. We were all asleep at 12 midnight, and then the night came to an end and the sun rose probably a little bit later, and we started to wake up about 6, 7, 8 o'clock. Okay, and we have some breakfast, and then we get to 12 noon. Now in school we have our lunch at 12:30, and you can see that again we've got another 12. We've got 12 midnight, and then we've got 12 noon, and this is when our tummies start to grumble. So far we've had the morning, and we call the morning a.m. After lunchtime, afternoon, we have the afternoon, okay, leading up to night again. So we carry on counting 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Oh, we're all home by then, are we? We've left school 4 o'clock, we've gone home. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock again, but this time it's 6 p.m. Okay, that's in the afternoon or evening. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Hope everybody's in bed by now. 11 o'clock and back to 12 midnight. So this is our Monday. Once we go past 12 midnight, it becomes Tuesday. Okay, so we'll have 2 6 o'clocks in one day, but one is 6 a.m. and the other is 6 p.m. And we'll keep it on checking in on those ideas. On the 24-hour clock, we write it slightly differently. Our midnight is no hours and no minutes. We have 1 a.m, 2 a.m, 3 a.m, 4 a.m, 5 a.m, and then as we get to 6 a.m, you can see that we have 6 hours and no minutes. We get through to 12 noon and we have 12 hours and no minutes. But here's the difference. Instead of starting to count from 1 again, we keep on counting through the teens. We have 1300 hours, 1400 hours, 1500 hours, 1600 hours, 1700 hours, 1800 hours. I'm going to pause here because I said 1800 hours. That's 18 hours and no minutes, often referred to as 1800 hours. Okay, there's not hundreds of hours in there, but that's the way that people talk, especially in the military. So 6 p.m. can also be called 1800 hours, or it can be written as 18 hours and no minutes. And we carry on counting up until we get to 23 hours, which is 11 o'clock p.m. And then as we get to the 24th hour being completed, remember we're moving on to the next day. So we go back to no hours and no minutes. So the easiest way to remember how to tell the time between the 12-hour clock and the 24-hour clock is to look at these two numbers. If we want to convert from the 12-hour clock to the 24-hour clock, we add 12. 6 add 12 equals 18. And we only need to know this for the afternoon. Everything in the morning stays the same number, it's just written slightly differently. But in the afternoon, instead of starting at 1 p.m, we have 13 hours and no minutes. Okay, and if we want to convert the other way, if we're within the 24-hour clock and we want to come to the 12-hour clock, we take away 12. So 18, take away 12 will give us 6. Okay, so the two things we need to remember is that it mostly applies to the afternoon, to PM, and that we are either adding 12 hours to convert from the 12-hour clock to the 24-hour clock, or we are taking 12 hours away to go from the 24-hour clock to the 12-hour clock. So 6 o'clock in the morning, or 6 a.m, is written as 0600. 6 o'clock in the evening, or 6 p.m, is written as 1800. And I've just told you the difference. Okay, so having a little look back. We've got 19 hours. What's 19 take away 12? That's right, it's 7. And the minutes stay the same. So this is 10 minutes past 7 in the evening, PM. What's 15 take away 12? That's right, it's 3. So this is 3:55 PM. That would have to be the following day. Before you move on to the guided practice, I just want to show you this helpful website which will help you look at the time on a digital clock and on a clock face. And you can do some comparisons here if you choose to. You can choose whether you want the 12-hour clock, which shows us 7:10 PM, or the 24-hour clock that shows us 19:10. Okay. You can move these clock hands around, so if you wanted to see how many hours it took to get round to 15:55, let's see how fast I can do it. Spin, 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 spin. Oh, 13, 14, 15:55. Oh, this handy little tool helps me work out that it took 20 hours and 45 minutes for that flight. That's nearly a whole day. Remember, there are 24 hours in one day. So let's have a look at the guided practice. Our big questions are, is it AM or PM? And are we looking at the 12-hour clock or the 24-hour clock? The first question is asking us to tell the time using a 12-hour clock. Okay. It's a bit of a trick question, I think. There's questions 2 and 3. Remember to ask, is it the 12-hour clock or the 24-hour clock? And on to question 4. Okay, guided practice is just on the video today and the worksheets are there for you. When you're ready to mark the worksheet, carry on playing this video. Okay, we're matching times here and then we're using the 24-hour clock to write departure times from this 12-hour table. Let's mark them. Please can I remind you that you shouldn't spend any more than an hour answering these questions. And if you've got any worries, please send a message to myself or Miss Bellis in the chat function on Teams. Take care, everybody.